guys, welcome back everyone. This is Sam and Olga back with another video on relationship detox.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of what is going on right now and what has been going on in the last few weeks, we're going to talk about some kind of like some popular beliefs and myths about when people are different than you, just about differences, you know.
Julius, keep it down, okay? We are recording.
Yeah, you're gonna be hearing Julius
So just
and
keep it down.
Joshua. Anyway, so hopefully they'll be quiet enough so you guys can hear us. Anyway, so yeah, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Since both me and Sam kind of embody the exact opposite of what mainstream society thinks or makes you believe, we thought it'd be appropriate to just kind of talk about that for a bit, right?
Exactly.
And just like the last video, we didn't do a lot of prep for this one. We're just going to kind of say what's on our minds.
Yeah.
So first things first, like I said in our last video, I have come across a lot of my friends and friends' parents in particular who kind of raise their kids subconsciously, making them believe that different is bad or is somehow negative. And it's like that anywhere you go. It's like that here in Germany. It was the same thing in Canada. I mean, it's just like that. And if you watch a lot of videos too on YouTube, you get that, you get a sense that the majority likes to stay or stick with what is familiar to them, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But we're here to basically tell you that just because a person looks different or have had a different upbringing or a different culture, different continent, all these different things, that doesn't mean that they're ultimately different in their values and in their personality in terms of what they enjoy, what they like, what they aspire, right? That one, those things can be the same, and most of the time are the same and or very similar to people who have been raised completely differently and look completely differently. So what I'm trying to say is basically the importance and the emphasis is being put on the things that are different superficially, right? And for these people, those differences mean or make all the difference in the world. And we just want to tell everyone that it's not so, because if this is what you believe, and this is how you are brought up as a child, thinking that different means it will not work or it cannot work, that means you're going to be missing out on a lot of potentially beautiful, long-lasting, strong relationships, whether it is romantically or just on a friendship level, right? Or even a business level. You know, I've experienced in my own work experience when I was in real estate, that certain landlords would refuse certain people, certain families, an apartment just because of their color or just because of the place where they're from. So it is what it is.
That's sad.
And it is really sad. It is really sad.
It is sad.
And me being who I am, what makes me really who I am is that I like to defy stereotypes. So I would go straight to these people and just make friends with them, right? Or you know, I was even there was a family too that was from the Middle East that everybody was kind of staying away from, and it was so obvious, you know, at that time that I was working at that in that building. I was renting apartments out at that particular building, and there was a family from the Middle East, once again, that people kind of stayed away from. And I could tell that even the staff wasn't very forthcoming and very nice to them, because of the assumption that all Middle Eastern people are radicals, you know, or jihadists or whatever, and they all of them hate white people and stuff like that. Well, I mean, if you get treated that way all the time, of course that also changes how you approach these people, right? And that kind of also feeds into their stereotypical way of thinking, which just kind of always spirals out of control, and it's just like this big elephant in the room all the time that doesn't seem to get any smaller, right? So, and then when I used to be in the office and the exact same people came, I was treating them normal, like I would treat anyone else, you know,
ultimate respect.
Exactly, because to me, that's just me though, but I like different. I like things and cultures, people that are different, something that I don't know. And especially when I hear a certain group of people being placed in a box, or having a label put on them, subconsciously I would love to go in and just see for myself if that is really true. So when these people come to me, or I collide with them somehow, I'm always very open, and I'm always very curious. And basically like inviting them into my world, and they in turn invite me into theirs. And literally that's what happened. That family invited me to have lunch with them, and I went and I had lunch with them. The hospitality was uncanny, like
bar none.
It was, and everything that I thought or that I heard about what people think of this culture or these type of people, it was completely the opposite, the exact opposite. And after I went home from having lunch with these people, I was just thinking, wow, thank goodness I had contact with these people, because our kids even became friends. So it's just so important not to give in to stereotypical beliefs, and just follow mainstream society, especially mainstream media these days. It's just basically set up to divide and conquer us. And the main thing is like the silver lining is we have way more in common, we as humans, as people, than we think we do. And if we didn't focus on those superficial things that are different, we would see that, and it would bind us together more. And that is what actually brings us forward and makes us go ahead and develop spiritually and develop physically, psychologically. If we just allow that closeness to exist, right?
So what I wanted to add to that is in the spirit of the demonstrations and the protesting that is going on in America and around the world, and also in the spirit of relationship's sake, please, we want to say, please stay away from vilification and also negative stereotypes that would end up, dividing us, as opposed to bringing us together. It doesn't do anybody good, like she was explaining earlier on. You will never know what a person is like or looks like until you actually take that step to really wanting to get to know that person. So if you are of the view that all blacks, for example, let me just use that, all blacks are so and so negatively, like has
criminals,
this negative what label that we get labeled all the time. If you are of the view, or you've been hearing this from your childhood, Olga and I are here to tell you, scrap all that. Just find out the truth for yourself. Whichever when it comes to cultures and race and everything, look, just go with your heart, what your heart tells you. If you see anybody at all that you feel connected, drawn, you feel some sort of positive connection towards that person, I don't care where that person comes from, just take that step forward. Go introduce yourself, say hi, and you will be surprised.
Most of the time you will definitely be surprised how much people have in common. And it really doesn't matter where they are from. And again, I've mentioned this in our last video, but I'll say it again for those of you who haven't seen our last video. Me and my friend, for example, are perfect examples of giving into mainstream type of stereotypical views. Okay, for example, in my family, race and different cultures and stuff, it was always a welcomed topic, and differences were never viewed as something bad. Okay. As a matter of fact, my dad, he loved the fact that I started that my first boyfriend was an African because him as a German was the first one to marry a Russian out of his entire family. Everybody else stuck to Germans as well, and he's the first one who kind of went outside of his own culture, and because the race is the same, but outside of his own culture, right? And he was very proud that I also kind of did that, and in doing so kind of followed his footsteps. steps a little bit. So, you know, just to emphasize how open my family was, and it's always like different is good.
Yeah.
Different is something that you can learn,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't know something, that's an opportunity
Yeah.
for you to learn, right?
Yeah.
And to gain something rather than to lose something, right? And I ended up with Sam because when we met, I was already open as can be.
Yeah.
So there were no hindrances, right? And no
Exactly.
negativity that was or no like stereotypical types of thoughts in my head that would keep us apart, kind of thing, right? For basically no reason other than just my thoughts and my beliefs, right? Now my friend, on the other hand, she was always raised believing that different is not necessarily something positive.
Yeah.
And when I introduced Sam to her family, her mother said, oh, you know what, yeah, black people are cool, and I actually don't have anything against them. I even, you know, I know a couple of them, but I wouldn't want any of my kids to be involved with them romantically. And I'm thinking, well, you just said you have nothing against black people, so why wouldn't you want any of your kids to be with black people if that's what they choose to? So obviously you must have something against them. So that negative type of influence goes all the way, like it's kind of like goes all around the world, because this person, my friend's mom, she doesn't have anything to do with black people in terms of, she has no idea about their culture, about their history. She doesn't know what they are like. Sam is as close to an African or a black person as she has ever come. And she's seeing us, how our relationship is working, and we're both happy. Meanwhile, her daughter, you know, following mommy's type of ideals when it comes to that, her having married someone exactly from her own race, from her own country, same age, everything the same, every category box that there possibly could be, everything you can check it, the same, and it was a complete disaster. It was a complete disaster. They had absolutely nothing in common other than those superficial things in terms of where they're from, and their skin color, and their racial their cultural background, you know, that was the same. But other than that, personality wise, they had absolutely nothing in common, and the entire relationship was a disaster and ended up in divorce. So I'm just saying that you cannot follow a stereotype, especially if it's a bad one, and you use that as an excuse to stay away from certain people. If that's what you want to do, that's even your business, but I'm saying don't necessarily bring that sort of belief and put that on your kids or your friends and other people, because like I said, she could be missing out on some really, really awesome relationships just because of what she's been fed throughout her childhood, right? So that's just a big contrast there that I wanted to you know, to mention, just to make my point.
You know, so guys, like she said, difference is good. You know, the fact that I'm different from her doesn't make it awkward or odd or some you know, negative stuff that some people tend to believe. The difference between us is what makes the relationship strong, and what makes it exciting, and what
not
makes,
exactly. I was gonna say, and not boring.
It's exciting, you know, because you see, for me, this is what I think people who are of the view are always trying to stay away from
something that's different,
other races that are different from them, or anybody who doesn't look like them. It's just for me, honestly, I think you are just close-minded, because because that's the only way that,
and prejudice.
Exactly. And also from the things you've been hearing negatively from either your family or your peers or whoever, you know, was feeding you that. But when you're open-minded, there's nothing like, you know, there's no fear, nothing, because you're open-minded. So even if you're not sure whether you want to date this person, just as a friend, like just friendship, you know, sake, or just you guys just staying as friends alone would help you to learn a lot from that culture. So that next time when you hear somebody vilifying or saying something negative about that type of race, you say, hey, but no, you know what? I don't think what you're saying. Maybe you might have run into one or two people, that were from that same culture that you ended up having a negative or a bad experience. That doesn't mean they're all like that.
Yeah.
However, I also know of somebody
Yeah.
and very close to the person who what you are saying is completely opposite from what
Exactly.
I'm hearing.
Exactly.
So this is how we will learn from each other and
each other.
educate people who are also
Yeah.
ignorant
And even
of all these differences that we're talking about.
And even if you come across somebody who does
Yeah.
fit the stereotype and
Yeah.
who is doing all the negative things that you've been hearing that these people would do,
Yeah.
try to figure out why.
Why?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because most of the time we just see the labels.
Yeah.
He's a convict.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a Nigerian. Yeah.
He's a drug addict.
He's a drug addict. That's
He's,
all we see.
like
That's all we focus
it's just
on.
negative.
But if you actually go into the person's story and really find out what has happened to that person, you will maybe understand why,
Yeah.
And the thing is, understanding doesn't mean justifying,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean agreeing with whatever negativity it is
Yeah.
that you are trying to figure out the why. Understanding basically means there is no reason for you to
yeah.
now hate
Exactly.
or dislike,
Yeah.
or be angry or mad about something. I have done this for a long time now, for years, where instead of just getting mad about something that someone did to me,
Yes, quiet.
I'm
We're
trying-
recording, okay?
I'm trying to rather understand where they're coming from, and I'm not looking at it in terms of I'm the victim of what you are doing to me. I'm trying to look at it from a third person perspective.
Yeah.
Because I believe that how a person treats you is a reflection of how they see themselves, right? And that's also true on a larger spectrum, like a culture, right? So if you understand where they're
Yeah.
coming from and what has happened to them perhaps in the past, if you understand it, that eliminates the anger,
Yeah.
right? I cannot be mad at my sister for doing this to me because I know what has happened to her for her to be acting this way. So even though I happen to be
Yeah.
the outlet for her, I'm just using my sister as an example, right?
Yeah,
I might be the outlet for her to let her frustration out on. That doesn't mean it's personal,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that I should react the same in the same
Yeah.
manner, right? Understanding where she's coming from, it really changes how you react
Yeah.
to what's to their behavior, and it changes how you feel about it.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like I said, if you don't know a culture, you don't know nothing whatsoever about a culture.
Yeah, other than what
And
you've been hearing on
the
media,
person-
for example.
Then what do you draw your conclusion? Like, where do you get your conclusion from?
Yeah.
So you're going to just sit for mainstream media to be talking, some kind of, like, like attach this bad, negative labels on people. So you just take that and run with it. But then when the same mainstream media talks about something that is not even related to us, but it comes close to home, you don't want to accept that one. Yeah. So for me, you see, the biasness has to be gone also. You take one. If you want to go with mainstream, then stick to them. Stick to that.
Even if they criticize your
Even
own.
if they criticize your own, stick to that.
Yeah.
But you cannot accept, other cultures being criticized or being labeled, negatively, and then when it comes to yours, sometimes I just don't know what to say, But anyway, like I said, in the spirit of all this that is going on, I just want, or we are here just to bring out a simple message saying, hey, look, there's only one race. You keep hearing all that. Every time you keep hearing this, there's only one race. If I'm bleeding right now, the color of the blood of my blood is not black. Honestly, it's not black. There's only one race. Whatever features she has, I have the same features, except for the reproductive part of it. Where I am male, she is female. She has nose, I have nose, and also our color is different.
Yeah.
What else? Come on, guys. What else?
But we both have skin.
Yes.
It's just that it's different. It's a different color.
Like what else?
So sometimes if you think about racism, it's just the dumbest,
It's the dumbest thing.
most
Like dumbest of the
primitive
dumbest.
way of you know, living your life. It's just like that ideology of racism is just the most unintelligent, you know, type of I don't know. Sometimes they compare black people to apes.
Yeah,
That
right.
is, even apes, I think, are not doing justice to how dumb racism actually is. You know, I'm talking about a pile of straw. That's
Yeah.
how dumb it is.
Right.
So dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, the kids are kind of driving me nuts. So
Yeah.
I think we're gonna...
Today. Yeah. We've been like they are really disturbing us
Yeah.
today. So we want to end it here. But yeah, just be on the lookout for our next video. Yeah, we're gonna come to you somewhere next week. So yeah, just be on the lookout. And also, again, we're getting ready to launch our podcast. We'll let you guys know as to the date.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't forget to put your comments in the comment section. Tell us what you think about this. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.
exactly.
Bye.
So until then, guys, you've been Detox.